Blessings, Lord. I'm your host, Victor Roberts. Join me this Thursday, the 22nd at 7:30 p.m. sharp. Yes, 7:30 p.m. for another Facebook Live as we discuss what is wrong with us in this country. Find out this Thursday as we get the answers. 7:30 p.m. sharp. I'm out. Blessing. Good afternoon to all, to each and everyone. Pleasant good afternoon to all our viewers who tune in on Facebook, YouTube, Douglas Politics. Welcome all. I want to say welcome to you locally, regionally, and internationally. It's no difference. It's all about facts, not fiction. And I'm sure that you have grown to the customary way in which we present the facts to you. We are not about slander. We are not about any mismanagement of the truth. We bring the truth to you without clothes. So in other words, we give you naked truth. Today, ladies and gentlemen, as we get into our discourse, I want to ask a serious question. What is really wrong? What is really wrong with us in this country? How come we now allow ourselves to believe untruth, hold it close to us while we know it is not the truth? We rejoice in propagating what is not truth. We stand and support what is not truth, and it seems as though that we are now comfortable living without truth. Ladies and gentlemen, as we pick up the mantle this afternoon, I want to start first of all with Minister Stuart Young. Minister Stuart Young, former National Security Minister, former Minister of everything, former minister who mismanaged the truth in relation to a lot of activities. A matter of fact, at one point, we had the U.S. Embassy coming out and making a statement. We have seen untruth by this administration in reference to the Delcy Rodriguez issue. We have seen untruth in relation to vaccination. We have seen untruth in relation to the HSF fund. We have seen untruth in every aspect of governance in our country. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I am asking what is wrong with us as citizens in this country. How come our foreparents would have dealt with us sternly, very much sternly, in order to bring the truth and to speak the truth in every matter in relation to our brought up seed, in relation to our disposition in our homes. We were required by our parents to speak the truth in every situation. And today, ladies and gentlemen, our parents who punish us for not speaking the truth now supporting lies. I am saying, what has so drastically gone wrong with moral and spiritual values in our country today? We had Minister Stuart Young speaking around the 6th in Parliament, and this was a matter in relation to the National Gas Company of Trinidad and Tobago. We have seen that in 2019, our NGC company even though it was an 83% fall, we have seen that the financial statements tell us that $396 million were made in profit by the NGC in 2019. But yet in 2020, we have seen a significant loss of revenue. And when this question was put forth in our parliament, I want to read something for you today. Energy Minister Stuart said state-owned National Gas Company, NGC, suffered the historic $2.1 billion loss in its 2020 financial year, partly as a result of the negotiation of the natural gas supply contract for the methanol and the DME plan in Brea by the People's Partnership Administration. The document goes on, although he did not name the foreign company involved, Young was referring to the natural gas supply contract negotiated by the NGC with Caribbean Gas Chemical Limited, which is majority owned by a consortium of companies of Japan's giant Mitsubishi Group. NGC and Neil & Marcy Group are minority shareholder in the plant, which began commercialized operation in December 2020, according to the ICIS website. The plan was commissioned more than a year late. In responding to a question from opposition Senator Wade Mark on a motion on the adjournment in the Senate on Tuesday, Young referred to a two-day visit he made in Japan in 2015 to renegotiate. Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention to truth. So Young said the only deal the UNC government put together in the period 2010 to 2015. So you know how the thing go in parliament. Is a set of idiotic talk, is a set of kick sting, is a set of stupidity, and the fact remains that Trinidad and Tobago continue to lose millions of dollars while these government officials enjoy the cream of the crop. But let's move on. Young told the Senate that required him, so he told the Senate that it required him to go to Japan on a two-day trip, and fortunately, ladies and gentlemen, listen to the statement, unfortunately renegotiate certain terms that the UNC government did, among other things, making a promise to give gas that did not exist to a new untested plan instead of all of the Point Lisa's estate plan that existed with their long-term natural gas contract at the time. I will come back and dissect this, that you could understand, because you know, when I deal with situations, I like to ensure that the average man on the streets will understand the robbery that is taking place within this country while he, the average man, suffer. So I'll come back. I'm just going through the format here. TNT Energy Minister said the negotiation of the natural gas supply contract provides the background for the 2.1 billion loss reported by the NGC for the financial year that ended December 31st, 2020. Let's go on. Young said, NGC's 2020 results were adversely affected by exceptional charges of 4.2 billion resulting from the following. 1. A charge of 2.1 billion recorded in 2020 by NGC for the onerous gas supply contract, in which the cost of fulfilling the contract in the future is greater than the return to be derived. As I said, we will dissect all that in a little while. Young said, as he continued in Parliament, the disastrous contract is going to lead to the NGC losing 4.5 billion in the future, with the natural gas company being required to book a charge of 2.1 billion in 2020 in accordance with new accounting standards. Let's move on. As he continued, an impairment of infrastructure of $1.6 billion. The settlement of certain claims of 500 million flowing out of the disaster that was 2010 to 2015 under a failed UNC administration that disseminated the energy sector in Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, when we go back to the charge of 2.1 billion recorded in 2020 by NGC for the onerous gas supply, that is a big word that simply means a burdensome or an oppressive or a troublesome, or in local terms, for my fellas down here, in local terms, a bad deal is what Young classify that agreement as. Added to that, impairment. That is a big word that in accounts, it simply means a permanent reduction in value of a company asset. In accounting, that is what that word means. But in this case, it simply means a decrease in net carrying value of an asset greater than the future undisclosed cash flow of the same asset. And I know my friend, my brother Obika will be glad to dissect that further. As an economist, I am certain that you'll be able to tear that up in pieces for you. But let's move on. Ladies and gentlemen, the settlement of certain claims of 500 million flowing out of the disaster that which he considered the UNC tenure between 2010 to 2015, he considered to be a disaster. But added to that, he said that is the UNC that disseminate the energy sector. I want to ask Stuart Young a question. I want to ask Stuart Young, first of all, as we start to mash up this thing here now, I want to ask Stuarty boy if he understand what he just said in the Senate. Young said that he had to make a trip, a 2-day trip to Japan, to renegotiate the deal that the UNC had made during the period 2010 to 2015. So Young boasted that he went to Japan for 2 days and renegotiate this deal. But I want to ask Stuart Young that if you went to China and changed the deal to Japan, and don't vex me if I say China, because you know that the business partner. But he went to Japan and he changed the deal, modify, take out, put in, whatever he did to the deal. He make amendment to the deal. And today, ladies and gentlemen, as a result of Stuart Young, pushiness, fastness, want to be the minister of everything, as a result of his interference, according to him, in the parliament on the 6th of July 2021, according to him, he went and modified the deal. Now, as a result of the modification of the deal, Stuart Young is now attempting to play the Rowley game by blaming the UNC. Ladies and gentlemen, look at here. Stuarty say that require me to go to Japan on a 2-day trip, and fortunately renegotiate certain terms and conditions of the deal. But now he went and negotiate certain terms and conditions. He stand up in the parliament now and tell you that is a result of the UNC that NGC lose X amount of dollars. Nothing could be further from the facts. Nothing could be further from the facts. This program is facts, no fiction. And this is the document that I hold. Added to that, ladies and gentlemen, Stuarty went on to tell us that the settlement of certain claims of 500 million, flowing out of the disaster that was 2010 to 2015, meaning the UNC, under a failed UNC administration that disseminated the energy sector. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what is this big word disseminated here means? This big word disseminated, you know what that word means? That word means to kill, to destroy, or to remove a large portion. So Stuart Young is saying that the UNC remove a large portion of the energy sector. That is what Stuart Young is saying to you. My people, my homeboys, Stuarty is saying that the UNC disseminated, they remove a large chunk of the energy sector. I want to ask Stuart Young today if he does smoke weed, if he does sniff coke, or if he does smoke coke. I want to ask Stuart Young that question today. Because, ladies and gentlemen, to stand up with a brass face and say that the UNC disseminate or get rid of a big chunk of the energy sector, it have to be somebody on drugs or somebody that is mad. Because I want to remind Stuart Young that when the UNC left office in 2015, the 4 trains of the LNG in Point 14 were operational. It was up and running, Stuart. Train 1, 2, 3, and 4 under the UNC. They left it up and running. Added to that, Stuart, the 20 plants in Point Lisas were up and running. They were up and running in 2015. Added to that, the natural gas production in this country was 26.3% under that same UNC. Added to that, the wicked, diabolical move of your administration, Stuarty, shut down a fully operational infrastructure, a company that was viable, that was bringing money to this country, that was bringing US, that had the forex market up and running. Your company, Stuarty, your government, Stuarty, closed down the energy giant of this country, Petrotrain, and you have the audacity to stand up and speak about the UNC. Disseminated the energy sector. Something wrong with all you. And this is what I am asking, what is wrong with people in this country? We sit idly by and listen to politicians lie before our faces. We stand up and allow politicians to desecrate our parliament. We allow politicians in this government to speak the most amount of untruth, and from a boy on the street, the most amount of lies in the history of governance come from this administration. And we sit and take that. I saw, ladies and gentlemen, Stuart Young talking about UNC. I saw this week on the OWTU press conference, which was held by the OWTU leader, the general president of the OWTU, sit and said to the media that our workers' pensions fund, indeed, it is in serious trouble. I saw Ansel Roger spoke of about $200 million that is missing from the pension fund with this same company that you, Stuart Young, and your government disseminates. I saw Ansel Roger literally pleading and asking what or where the money gone. Added to that, that is a statement that Ansel Roger made that remind me when the Prime Minister at the time, Patrick Manning, was asking our Prime Minister where the money gone. You remember that under Basdio Pandey? That Patrick Manning was asking where the 10 million gone from Udicott. At that time, Keith Christopher Rowley was the man. Only remember that, ladies and gentlemen. So Ansel Roger is now asking where the $200 million gone from the pension fund. Ladies and gentlemen, ex-Petrotrin workers, this pension fund is not a gift from the government. This pension fund is something where workers tirelessly work and contributed to this financial stability as to when they reach an age of retirement, together with the contribution of now defunct Petrotrin, they would have been able to live quite in a relaxed manner. I can't say the word comfortably. They would have been able to live in a relaxed manner. And why I cannot use that word in a comfortable manner is because the state that Keith Rowley, Stuart Young administration has brought Trinidad and Tobago, it have nothing like living comfortable anymore. So this money was there in order for these individuals who work night and day, suffer morning tower, evening tower, daylight. They brace the daylight sun, they brace the going down sun, and they brace the dew to work from 11 in the night to 7 next morning. Ladies and gentlemen, Roger is now asking where the money. A matter of fact, Roger now states quite clearly that they have retained the services of Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj, who has already sent 2 pre-action protocol letters to those involved to retrieve the money. Stuart Young was that an action of the UNC? When the UNC was in power, Stuart Young, Petrotrin was up and running, boy. When the UNC in power, Stuart Young, NGC was making money, boy. When the UNC in power, the LNG was bringing money to this country, boy. It's all you. It's you. It's Rowley. It's the Cease Franklin Khan. And the rest are all you that have the energy sector in this crisis, where even Roger, who was the powerhouse, and you know how to hit him too coffee quick, you know how to hit him too jab. Roger, who was the powerhouse in trade unionism in this country, the powerhouse, that gentleman, now reduce to a beggar, begging for the money. And not only so, have to retain a senior counsel to fight a battle that he used to once fought. But let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. This PNM is not only a PNM that break the backs of the poor, they also break the backs of the middle class, and they break the back of Ansel Roger, who was one of the most powerful trade union leader in this country. Break his back, that no longer he has the gem of power. You know why? Because the refinery is there no more under this diabolical government. They lick up Roger, they cripple Roger, they put Roger in an industrial wheelchair. That at this point in time, the executive will now have to push Roger around because they lick up his backbone. A matter of fact, they treat Roger like in the days of my ancestors. They take out the important ingredient so that, let me go there, so that, ladies and gentlemen, no longer he has that testicular fortitude. They took it away. They took out the most important component in that that human biology arrangement. They take it away. So what is happening now is that Roger now have to seek a lawyer. You hear what I'm saying? That is what they reach to. They put him in our industrial wheelchair. And this administration have no mercy for Roger. You know what they do? They give him that wheelchair with no tires. He rolling on rims. Rims he rolling on. And that is to tell you that is not long again before the executive get rid of him. But I want to tell Roger something today. Roger, I am telling you as a comrade, as a man who fight for workers. Yes, I just fight for workers too, Roger. As a man who defend the poor and the oppressed. As a man who stood up when the government was breaking the squatters' houses in Brea, Palo Seco, Santa Flora. As a man who lead the charge, who wrote letters not only to CARICOM, but wrote letters to the president, wrote letters to CARICOM, wrote letters to the court in The Hague, seeking certain directions. A man who find attorney. And let me tell you, one of the man who stood up with the squatters, one of the man who stood up with the squatters when we fight that battle was Gerard Ramdeen. And I really appreciate that he came down and stood up for the people in a PNM constituency to fight the PNM, to save the same PNM people homes. Gerard Ramdeen, I salute you on that. So I am telling you, Roger, analyze what is happening. You still have time to salvage yourself, Ansel Roger. You still have time to salvage the OWTU. You still have time to give the OWTU the teeth that it once had. But in order to do that, Roger, you must now mobilize your forces. You must tell us what is the next course of action to be taken against this wicked administration. Not only so, you, Roger, have to also either bring David Abdullah to your terms and conditions, or throw David Abdullah by the wayside. David Abdullah is no boss in relation to trade unionism. David Abdullah is a follower to you, Roger. You are the leader, and if you are the leader, you must lead. You have the ultimate opportunity, Roger, to make a clear difference. Mobilize your forces. Mobilize your forces. Join with the organization that hold 19 seats in this country and fight together and remove this diabolical administration, so that you could now raise your head once more and stand for the people, the workers of this country, you have the ideal chance to repay Rowley administration for the deception that they place on you. Added to that, Roger, you must stand up. You must allow your fortitudes to grow. Allow it to grow and stand up and tell this country the deception of the PNM administration and the betrayal that they betray the OWTU. Allow the country to know, Roger. Stand up and tell this country how Rowley administration betray you, the OWTU, and the workers of this country. That is what you must now do. Come out and make it plain. Allow your workers, I mean your ex-workers, allow your followers, I mean those that still hold on, allow your executive, even those who may want to get rid of you, to know what the administration, this government, how they betray the people of this country. Roger, take that comforter out your mouth, throw away the baby bottle, and eat solid food and spew it out. Let the people know, let the country know that this administration that we are dealing with is not an administration that cares about the livelihood of people. It's not an administration that cares about the working class. It is not an administration who care about their own supporters. Their own. So if they don't care about their own supporters, Roger, let me tell you something. This week, I had people calling me from Los Charo, from number 7 road, from behind the club. The same club that abandoned in Balosico. Behind the club, in Alexander Village, in Quarry. I had people calling me all over that Heritage on a rampage, serving notices, looking to break down the house. A matter of fact, the police came and took up one woman in number 7 road simply because she told the big boss woman from Heritage that I know where you live in. She said, I know where you live in. You come to break my house. I know where you live in. And the same way my house break, your house could break too. Next thing, the police reach. That is how, and you know the sad thing about that, Roj, these are persons, the majority of them, they are people who supported the PNM. They are people, remember talking about Palasico, you know. I am living in the heart of the PNM, you know. I am living right, wrong, left, right, and center is PNM, you know. But you know something, Rose? And this is where you must allow your fortitude to grow. Yea, do you walk through the valley of the enemies, Rose? You don't fear them. You know why you don't fear them? Because once you're doing the right thing, there is a guidance angel, a guardian angel that will be with you. Rose, come out and tell this country about the great betrayal of this government and tell them why we are in this situation. Tell them, Rose, you have the opportune time. A matter of fact, Rose, you know the boss lady number. You know the boss lady number up there. Get the boss lady a call. Talk to the boss lady. Redeem yourself, Rose. All is not lost. You know the boss lady number. Give her a call. Nobody had to know. It have a whole song that some of my ancestors used to sing. Nobody got to know. Nobody got to know. Yeah. And the chorus was nobody got to know who Jesus is. You are the number. give my boss lady a call, and you talk up there, and talk up there, and redeem yourself, because this is the only chance. Because let me tell you something, they're coming at T and Tech, they're going at WASA, they're going at everything. You will see T and Tech men with helmet come by you to read your meter, and they'll be telling you, ching chong yo. You go see they coming to open the main valves in the road, and they say ching chong yo. That is what you're going to see in this country. Roger, that is your opportunity. That is what you need to do. Let us fix it before it's too late. Stand up before it's too late. Let me come back to Stuart Young now. Let me come back to Stuart. Now enough for you today, Rose. We go talk next time. So Stuart Young talking about the UNC disseminated. A matter of fact, the UNC is the one that disseminate the energy sector. Stuart Young, something really wrong with all you. Every disaster in the energy sector came from all you. From fake oil in 2016-17 to now comes within the ambience of the PNM. From fake oil to now. Let me tell you how all ain't easy. Stuart Young, Faris Alwari, and Keith Rowley, let me tell all you something today. When was the Malcolm Jones matter? All you forget Petrotrin, and all you take decisive action to save Malcolm Jones. You know why? 2016 on the 7th, I think was July or June, somewhere there, Rowley stood up in Tobago, and Rowley said, let me tell you why the government took the decision to withdraw the Malcolm Jones matter. Although Faris Alwari is on record saying in the parliament to Rodney Charles, MP Charles, that the government took no such decision. Lie. Lie, them does lie. Lie. Alwari said the government took no such decision. But Rowley in Tobago said, let me defend why the government took the decision. That is what they're supporting. Two. So all you jump in the bacchanal and all you save Malcolm Jones from paying back $97 million to this country. $97 million. All you jump in, take over Petrotrin business and make it a government business, right? I had no problem with that, because I had no problem with all you taking care of all your own. I have no problem with that. But the problem I have is the corruption in which are being utilized in order to take care of your own. That is where my problem is. That is where my problem lies. Added to that, let me show you, ladies and gentlemen, let me rephrase that statement. Let me show all you how evil this government really are. Let me show all you. So they jump in Malcolm Jones and they save Malcolm Jones because that was a Petrotrin decision. That was some advice from the Queen's Counsel who I gave all you last week. This Nelson man who turned a big state witness, who collect 11 million plus, who they can't find now, and who plead guilty, and who this and who that. So they get the advice, half a paragraph, an iota less a paragraph, and they free this gentleman here, Malcolm Jones. They take it over. I want to show you something. We have the fake oil arbitrators. The arbiters rule in favor of Mr. Bash when the High Court, the Appeal Court, and the Privy Council at some level, let me quote it carefully here because I know they have money for court. The Privy Council say, only no matter. The High Court and the Appeal Court throw them out. But the amateurs rule that this gentleman won the arbitration and that this gentleman will get over $1 billion of taxpayers' money. But Rowley and Stuart Young and Faris Alwari and the whole of the PNL, they ain't taking it from Petrotrin and say, hey, this is now a government situation and we're going to intervene and file an appeal and file for this judgment to be set aside. You hear Rowley say now that is for Petrotrin to decide. That is for Petrotrin to decide. You know why? Because all of them is PNM. That is the reason why. So no longer you will hear the Minister of Energy, Stuart Young, stating that the government going to file for this decision to be set aside. No, no, no. You will not hear Faris Alwari saying that as Attorney General, I have advised Petrotrin, because this is a state company, I have advised the board to file for the set aside this judgment. No, no, no. You will not hear Rowley, who defended the decision to withdraw Malcolm Jones' matter. You will not hear Rowley saying, I am Prime Minister, as he liked to say, and I intend to be Prime Minister for a little while, and therefore, as Prime Minister, I have instructed my friend who I appointed as chairman of Petrotrin. I have instructed my board members who I appoint as the board of Petrotrin. I have instructed them to file and documentation to have this matter set aside. You will not hear that, even though it's the same boots he used to fight and to withdraw the Malcolm Jones matter. You know why? Because my friend is my friend and my friend is my friend, and I have to come and help my friend. My friend is my friend, and what my friend get, I am not exposed to in court. But that is how the thing going. That is how the thing going. Once we is friends. So all in a sudden, this is not a government issue, ladies and gentlemen. This is a Petrotrin issue, and Petrotrin will get advice. Listen how diabolical that this government really are. The attorney who fought on behalf of Petrotrin in the arbitration give an undertaking that the government must move quickly to stop this. You know why? Because A&V done file for about $75 million in this arbitration. She said that the state must move, Petrotrin must move quickly to have it set aside. But even the attorney who fought for Petrotrin cannot even, not even the government will listen to that attorney. So what that tells you, ladies and gentlemen, that tells you that anytime we talking about the seminate, that tells you that the government already planned. The government already planned not to interfere with that $1 billion. You know why, ladies and gentlemen? My question today is how many individuals in the government may very well be beneficiaries for $1 billion. Who knows? Who knows? And I want to be very careful, because MP Munilal speak about a check in Parliament that was allegedly on Rowley and some Dilki Singh name, And it landed him in the court right now. He had to stay quiet on the subject. So I stayed quiet on the subject too. I ain't making no noise. Trinidad and Tobago, what is wrong with us? What is wrong with us? We are seeing blatant nepotism, blatant thievery, blatant lying, blatant everything. And we support and condone that today. This is the government that we have in power. This government destroy the energy sector. You ain't understand yet, people, that Petrotrade were responsible for the billing of the HSF fund. You ain't understand that the majority of savings came from that organization. You ain't understand that Petrotrade were responsible as corporate citizens for a lot of bridges and roads and community centers in various parts of this Trinidad and Tobago. This Petrotrade that this government murder in order to save their friends in this corruption scandal. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand something as I take a 1 minute break. 1 minute break. I want you to understand, ladies and gentlemen, that this administration is an administration that you will live to regret. You will live to regret supporting this administration. I'll be back in 1 minute. Welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an administration that you must understand. This administration is destroying the future of your children. Ladies and gentlemen, the decisions of Keith Rowley administration, it is decisions that your children would not have a future in this country. I want to ask you today, how long again before you cry for help? How long again, ladies and gentlemen, would you allow these government officials to stand before you in a place that is called the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago, a place where they administer laws, where laws are formulated to govern your babies that is within the womb of the mother. And yet within all of this, ladies and gentlemen, these ministers will stand up and blatantly lie. And we support that. How long again before you cry for truth? How long before you cry out for justice, where there must not be one law for the rich and another law for the poor, where there must not be one law for the government officials and their friends and another law for the poor? How long again before you cry, ladies and gentlemen? How long again before you cry out against the wrongdoing of this administration in this country, ladies and gentlemen? How long will you allow? How long before you cry? Where government officials drive fancy and executive vehicles and you cannot buy a bicycle? How long before you cry against government officials eating ham, lamb, and jam, who feeding their dogs with some of the best food in this country, while you as the poor people have to depend on a hamper? How long again, ladies and gentlemen, will you allow government officials to enrich themselves with the natural resources of your country, where they have all types of duty breaks, tax break, VAT break, every break that you could think about? These government officials have it, and yet every budget they implement taxes and more taxes upon you and the poor people in this country. How long again, ladies and gentlemen, will you cry with one voice to be treated equally in society? How long will you allow the youths to go down the drain in this country before you cry out? Youths, how long again before you cry with one voice for equity, for justice, and for opportunity? You must cry out with one voice, youths. You have the magic wand to help make changes in society. You have the index finger, youths. Utilize the index finger and demand a place in society. Demand a place within the political arena, whereby the youths will have a voice to speak on behalf of the youths. Not the youth having a voice to speak on behalf of their P&M party. How long again, youths, will you sit on the block and see what is taking place with your future? No vision in sight to have a future. How long before you cry out? I remember in the days of old that there were leaders who were acting and behaving as our leaders in government today. And I remember in the days of old, youths, that there was a fortress, a wall that was called the walls of Jericho. It was a fortress that not even in those days there were any form of artillery to penetrate those walls. But let me tell you, youths, the power of your voice. The book tells us in the days of old that the army, the children, they march round the city 7 times. And they cry out with one voice 7 times. And the book will tell you that when the cry of the youths, the cry of one voice, the walls came tumbling down. Youths, it's about time you cry. Cry aloud. Cry aloud, youths. This country future belongs to you. This country wealth belongs to you. The wealth of this country doesn't belong to the PNM officials. The wealth of this country do not belong to the PNM politicians. The wealth of this country belongs to every citizen. We have an anthem that states every creed and race will find an equal place. Youths, you look at it and you will understand that that's nothing but an anthem, a song in your ear. Within this administration, there is no equal place in this country. There is place for them and them alone. You look at the draconian laws that they want to institute. They want to institute laws where there will no longer be freedom of press, where the press cannot speak on behalf of the people. Because today in society, we have some media houses that speaks only on the part of the PNM. We have some media houses that will hide the truth on page 6 and page 8. No longer the truth is a front page matter in this country with these media houses. You know why? Because the government, they have understand how to use those media houses in favor of themselves. We want a media house in this country that speaks the truth against the PNM and against the UNC. We want politicians to speak the truth in this country. It matters not if you are PNM or if you are UNC. We must now hold our politicians to speaking the truth in society, because we hire them, and if we hire them, then they must report to us the truth. Watch this hogwash that Stuart Young and them will speak in the parliament. Watch it, ladies and gentlemen. Every Monday morning, this government will come up with a sophisticated plan of lies. You know why? Because they themselves, they are now convinced that something is wrong with the people in this country. They have proven that this country no longer accepts truth. Rowley say, you know when I say that, my daughters has watched me cut eye. They want me to say Rowley said. But Rowley say, ladies and gentlemen, that no, more than before, there is a problem with truth in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a problem with truth in this country. I agree with what Rowley said. But Rowley must first look into himself. He must first take the beam out of his eye before he take out a beam in somebody else's eye. Rowley must learn and understand. He must research what is truth. And when he get the definition of truth, ladies and gentlemen, then on my view, my personal view, then Rowley will be able to talk. I am saying that Trinidad and Tobago should turn their televisions and radio off when you hear these government ministers having any press conference or any press release, because it's nothing but lies. You watch this whole pandemic situation. You watch the information that Rowley, D.L. Singh, Stuart Young, watch the information that they bring to you. Today they will tell you X. Tomorrow they will tell you Y. And the day after they will tell you they never say X and Y. Ladies and gentlemen, it is there on record. It is there. And that is why I need not to come and fabricate any story, because there is enough facts to separate the facts from Rowley, Stuart Young, Alwari and the government fiction. This government is a family to Jet Li. This government is a family to Bruce Lee. Because we have Bruce Lee, Jet Li, and we have this PNM government whose name is now Lily. So it's Bruce Lee, Jet Li, and Lily. They lie for tea, they lie for breakfast, they lie for supper, and they lie when they sleep in. Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago. I am saying this afternoon to you that the time has come that we must cry with one voice. We must cry loud with one voice. And that cry, ladies and gentlemen, as we go along and we develop, I will tell you what that crying song must be. We must cry with one voice, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an option in this society going forward. And the option that we have, ladies and gentlemen, is to salvage what is left before it's too late. The option is to salvage what is left before it is too late. And that is why I am urging you today to cry with one voice. Cry with one voice. Now is not a time for who don't like who, and who is Indian, and who is Creole, and who is Baptist, and who is Catholic, and who is Hindu, and who is Muslim. Now is the time to cry with one voice. Cry aloud to save this country. Save this country, ladies and gentlemen. If you have love for your young siblings, if you have love in your heart for your generation to continue, cry with one voice. Cry with one voice before it's too late. I am making a call here this afternoon. I am calling on every citizen. I am calling on every religious group. I am calling on every NGO, every chamber of commerce. I am calling on every individual to cry with one voice. And that cry, ladies and gentlemen, must be the cry of call election now. That is the cry that we must cry with one voice aloud. We must cry and call for the resignation of this entire administration. We must cry with one voice for the resignation of this administration. Cry with one voice. Call election now and salvage this country. Save what is left of this country, ladies and gentlemen, so that your children can have a future, that your grandchildren could have a future. Cry aloud, ladies and gentlemen, and let us reinstate a leader by vote who have demonstrated her caring ability, who have demonstrated her love, who have demonstrated her commitment for the future of this generation. Cry for Auntie Kamala. Ladies and gentlemen, I am out.